months of savings saved up. But then there was leftover. Well, what are we gonna do with the leftover? So I went out and bought a Louis Vuitton purse, because what is real estate, right? Without a Louis Vuitton purse. I went out and I got my dream car, which I didn't do it for images. I needed a car because we'd given my old car to a family member, and I was like, well, let's go out and get my car. We have the money, right? And so then, let's do this. We have the money. And so we'd gotten really cocky, and we were on top of the world, and we loved it, in the moment, of course. And it was awesome. And then 2023 came, and the market just completely shifted. And we had blown through our 6 months in savings on the house because we had no business for 6 months, or not enough to honestly support our lifestyle that we had given ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so we got into a severe amount of business debt and a little bit of personal debt, probably a pretty good amount of personal debt. And we were just crippled, and we were like, what are we going to do? And we got humble so quickly, because we were like, what are we doing? We're over here, first generation home buyers, both survivors of trauma. We have all these things, and we're over here like, oh, look at all the money we got. Look at what we're doing. And now we have nothing. We have nothing. We actually contracted on a second house in 23. We lost $6,000. We backed out 30 days before closing because we couldn't afford it. And I think that was the real big shift, was when we backed out of that house in 23. And people were like, why'd you back out? And we're very transparent on our socials. And so we were like, we messed up. We couldn't afford it. I think we had like $2,000 in our bank account, and we were trying to buy a $500,000 house at 7% interest rate, because we're like, why not? Right. And so we got, and thank God it was so early on in our business, right? We'd only been in real estate 2.5 years at that point. And we were like, we can't do this. We have to humble ourselves. We have to be appreciative for every single client. And not that we weren't before, but we definitely saw the money and went, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with it? And so we look back on that moment specifically. During the house buying process, we actually had something in our backyard break, and it hit our house, and it put a hole in our house. And it was a piece of wood, and we kept that piece of wood, and we have it in our house, and we keep it there. And people are like, what is this? And then I tell them, we got really cocky. We got to a point where we just wanted everything, and we went for it. And we're believers. And God was like, no, sit down. Like, you're doing too much too fast. And so we try to stay very humble now. And I would like to think that we are. There are always going to be times where we get a little bit ahead of ourselves. But we look at 22 a lot. We talk about it once a week. We have finance meetings with each other. We talk about how grateful we are just to have the four walls that we have. We do a lot of give backs, and that's another way we stay humble. Is we do a lot of give backs because we both came from where we came. We know what it's like to be in those situations. And if we're giving the money away that way, it feels good, and it keeps us really, really humble. It doesn't keep us up on this thing like, oh, I have all this money to give away. It's like, oh man, like they're suffering right now. Like, let's give them some money, and like, it's just a whole different feeling of giving the money away versus spending the money on a Louis Vuitton purse and my dream car and all these other things. So for us, humbleness is definitely a huge part of our story, especially, with just both of us. But I mean, it's a huge part of our story because we literally went to the top and we fell all the way down.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a story. And I think it's important for people to know, because I think sometimes when people see, oh, you're successful, oh, it comes easy for you, and they don't realize the grind, the time, the energy, the effort, the sacrifices you have to make.
Yeah.
And I like to tell people all the time, like, I do a lot of social media because it keeps me in touch with my sphere, and I do have business come to me. It doesn't mean I like it. It doesn't mean I don't like the wrinkles in my forehead, right? Yeah. Or I don't like the sound of my voice. But I do it. So there's a lot of hard that comes to this industry, and it's a grind, and you are always, I love that EXP's given me opportunity to earn multiple streams of income, and it's put us in a situation. We do some fix and flips and some investment homes and things like that. But we try to stay humble too. My husband's big. My husband was an All-American at Michigan. He played baseball. He was drafted, but he hurt his shoulder.
Always.
So
happens.
I know he's involved in the Detroit Metro Stars. So he's involved in the baseball youth organizations. He's helped put over 100 kids in college playing baseball. So that's just a passion. He still does the financials. So they're a nonprofit, 501(c). So they're a nonprofit. So we try to do things like that in the community, in the neighborhood, to try to stay. We do a lot of, like I said, the monthly events. So we're trying to help agents in our industry and elevate our industry for knowledge. I like working across from another professional that's in the industry that knows what they're doing, right? So whether you're with us or not, I think that that's important. So try to give back to the community that way and stay humble. And we generally have that heart where we like to help people. So no, I think it's good for people to share. Like you said, it's easy when that money comes in to think, and they're like, oh, you've got an office, and oh, you do this and that and this business.
You must be so well off and have all these things. And
yeah. No, it takes a lot of hard work and sacrifices. And there were times where there wasn't, because we do have the office, there's expense and there's things that, come at you. And like you said, the market. And because my husband or my son, our oldest son, is moving to Florida. He just got a job opportunity. So we just sold his home. So I am happy for his opportunity, and I am crying that he's taking my two kids to Florida.
Yes.
But that being said, so he's moving industries. We are helping him, and it's been fun to be able to help our kids getting in good financial situations with everything, and walk away from college with no debt and things like that. So we try to do things like that to help put them in a good spot. I joke our last kid will be finishing college, and I'm going to get a pay raise.
You want more money, Blake? No, you got those grandbabies you got to spoil now. So the money's just going to go right to them.
Yes. And it's been so fun. So they've been closest for like 2.5 years. And he was in the service. So he's a firefighter in the service. So we appreciate his service. And he likes the weather down there. So
in Florida?
In Florida.
Do you want a 2x4? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like the weather. I mean, in Houston and Florida, they're the same. No,
I know. I'm like, it's so hot there.
No.
Moving to Sarasota, I'm like, you can't walk outside and do anything.
No. You literally walk outside and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess. Yeah. No, that was the hardest part from coming from the West Coast to Houston. I was like, what is humidity? Yeah, no. People was like, oh, I love it here. What do you love? The cheap prices. I'll take that. I'll take the cheap prices. Yeah, but.
Yeah, I don't mind. We have 4 seasons, but I will say, like, I like all 4 seasons. I love sweatshirt weather and fall and things like that. When it comes time to spring, I'm ready for some blue skies before we get it.
Sure.
So don't mind some snow, but I'm ready for that to go sooner. So I get what he's saying, but in the summer, I'm like, then you just have to go spend all day in the air conditioning.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to live in the AC. No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, is there anything that you, anything that you would like to let people? I know that it's been fun connecting with other women, and while I'm in business with my husband, I love bouncing ideas off of others and how they do their teams. And I know for me, like in some of the groups and some of the groups and people that EXP has brought in my life through the Women Impact and some of the other groups that they have, has really had a great impact as far as people I enjoy in life, people I can tap into. I help other people just because we have a great connection, whatever that looks like. So I'm excited they've connected me to you. So I'll be cheering you on.
Thank you.
And wishing you well. Is there anything that you would like to share with everybody out there? Any tidbits or things like that if they're looking to just kind of scale with soul, staying humble, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, being humble is so big. Something that I talk a lot about, and I talk about this all the time. And like I said, on my socials, I'm very, very, very transparent with my trauma and what has happened to me and what my life looked like before I was, an adult. But something that I think that a lot of realtors forget is that your clients, even if they're buying $1 million, like they're just a basic Joe, right? And so I tell a lot of people that I'm just like them. And, realtors get put on such a pedestal. And I say this all the time. I talk to a lot of agents and I'm like, they don't know that you aren't rich. They don't know that we're back to like the Louis Vuitton and the Mercedes, right? Like they don't know you are driving a Mercedes and you're a nice person. They don't know that you do or don't have 5 Louis Vuittons at house, right? Because selling Sunset shows them that you do, and right. So I'm always telling people, like, I post on my stories every single day. And sometimes it's about real estate, but usually it's about me. And like, sometimes I wake up at like 9:30 and I'm like, my hair's messy. And I'm like, hey guys, good morning. Like that, you just have to be normal, because for whatever reason, people look at realtors and they think, oh, I can't talk to them. They're not accessible because they have all this money, or, and everything's a facade on social media, right? Like 90% of that stuff isn't real to begin with, And so I try to be very, very, very transparent on my socials, because I always tell people, like, they don't know you until you let them know you. And that will literally make or break a deal sometimes, because you may be missing out on clients who really want to connect with you, really want to be friends with you, but they think that you drive a Mercedes and you have, all these bags and you drink, expensive champagne and you go to $3,000 dinners. They don't know. If you post that, then they're going to think that. But you're at home sitting in your socks eating rice-a-roni with the next guy, And so I always tell people that we're not any better. We're not any different. And is our income sometimes a little different than some people? Sure. But like, there are other people out there who make, 7 times what we make, mm-hmm. And the money doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter. And you should always show your clients that you are who you are, and at the base of who you are and where you came from.
Yeah. Yeah. You take care of your clients, the money will come. And I always 100%. Tell agents, a lot of trainings and things I do, and I really try to emphasize that. And that's part of my Ditch the Hills event in September, is showing up as your authentic self. So ditch the hills, wear the sneakers. You don't have to put on, a fancy facade, but showing up as your authentic self. And I think that people are attracted. People like to work with somebody they know, like, and trust. And some people are going to connect with you and some aren't. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So if you can be yourself.
Yeah.
The people that you attract are people that you honestly want to be working with.
You want to hang out with them anyway. Yeah. And
exactly.
Selling the real estate's just a bonus. So
exactly.
I completely agree with that. I think that it's a lot less work to be yourself when selling real estate. You don't have to show up in fancy clothes and fancy heels. And some listing appointments, they require that. And some clients require that. But a lot of my clients, again, they're millennials and they're first-time home buyers. Like, they don't want to see me in a skin-tight dress and heels and pearls. Like, they don't care about that. They don't want to see that. They want to see me in my sweats and my t-shirt and my tennis shoes. And I might have just got out of the gym, and I might not have. I might be sitting on the couch eating Cheetos. They don't know. But like, they want to know that I sit in my couch the same way they sit in their couch. And when they go to make the biggest financial decision of their lives, they don't want to be judged because they're buying a $200,000 house versus a $2 million house.
Yeah, no, I've had people reach out and go, Kim, I know you're busy. Can you help me? Or I'm at this price point. I'm like, I don't care what price point you're at.
Oh yeah. The thing that hurts me the most is
treated the same way. Yes. Yeah. I'm not too busy. We can help you. Absolutely. It doesn't matter what price point. I'm going to take care of you because I love helping. Love helping people. Your house is the center of your life. Like that is, so being able, and I still get inspired even today with 28 years later, right? If I'm helping somebody and whatever it is, if it's their first time, if they're downsizing, if they're going to that next step or whatever that looks like.
Always a story there too.
There's always, I post on a regular basis. Every home has a story. And I tell the story of my clients. And, some of it is like, we also, we're empty nesters. And so if we're at that point where we're helping people coordinate buying and selling, that's tricky. We've never left, knock on wood, anybody homeless. So we lay out how to do that. So a lot of times people, I try to put out that, like, don't be afraid to ask questions, and they don't always know what to ask. Right. Yeah. But if you lead with your heart.
Yeah.
And you help people. I see that you sing at church.
I do. Yes. I recently started doing, I've always wanted to do that. It's been on my heart forever. And we started going to a smaller church after we bought the house, and I sing on the worship team. It is actually, I have worship practice tonight, so I'm very excited about that. I'm going to take my nieces, so they've never been, so I'm very excited. But it is hands down probably one of the favorite, more than real estate maybe, just because of the reasoning behind it, But yeah, I sing at church, and it 100% fills my cup, like overflows my cup.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. If I sing at church, everybody might leave.
That's what people keep saying. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm any good. They could have me turned off for all I know, but they're not the type of church to tell me no. So I just sound terrible, but here we are, you know.
Yeah, yes. Well, and I used to help with catechism. So my kids were in school. I used to, you know, so you find your ways, like you said, that you give back. But, you know, leading with your heart and helping others, that's really ultimately what we get to do in real estate, which is so rewarding and fulfilling. And so I've enjoyed getting to know you more.
Yes,
and I look forward to you're going to be at the convention in October.
I will. I'll be at EXPCon as well. I will probably be there Sunday. I'm probably going to do XCamp again. I did it last year, which is a really cool event. So I liked XCamp a lot.
Yeah, so fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, then we'll have to meet up. So I will make sure that I see you there. Yeah, and absolutely. It's been a pleasure talking to you and wishing you and your team all the best.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much. It was great talking with you. And I hope to definitely